Hi there, you're watching Nightline with me, Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. The top stories: cocaine vape syndicate busted. 3 Singaporeans among 4 arrested in Kuala Lumpur. And no sign of let-up, Israel strikes Tehran's prison in largest attack yet as Iran warns US but holds fire for now. Police have crippled the country's first known cocaine vape distribution syndicate through the arrest of 4 men, including 3 Singaporean nationals in Ampang Jaya. The arrests were carried out on June 19 based on intelligence received on their activities. Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department Acting Director Datuk Mat Zani alias Muhammad Salahuddin Che Ali said the first suspect, a 57-year-old local, was detained along with 2 Singaporeans, aged 46 and 25, in a Toyota Velfire parked at the exit lane of a hotel in Ampang Jaya. A 4th suspect, a 31-year-old Singaporean, was nabbed shortly after at the lobby of the same hotel.
Kita telah menjumpai 10 kotak mengandungi 4,958 cartridge vape yang berisi cecair yang kita syaki dadah jenis kokain, yang mana anggaran berat keseluruhan kesemua vape ini adalah 9,420 ml.
Each vape cartridge, estimated to be worth 1,500 ringgit on the international market, can deliver up to 100 inhalations. The syndicate is believed to have been operating since March of this year, using rented condominiums around the capital as packaging hubs before distributing cocaine-laced vape liquids to international markets. The case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act, which carries the mandatory death penalty or life imprisonment with whipping upon conviction. All suspects have been remanded for 7 days from June 20th to 26th to assist investigations. The government has agreed to adopt the Transitioning Industrial Clusters or TIC initiative as part of the national agenda. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the move is a strategic step to foster collaboration between companies and public institutions while advancing the country's green economy. The Prime Minister chaired the National Digital Economy and 4th Industrial Revolution Council meeting in Putrajaya earlier on Monday. Anwar said the TIC framework has the potential to create high-skilled jobs and reduce carbon emissions. He also expressed support for Sarawak's initiative to establish a TIC hub in Bintulu, which is projected to contribute 12 billion ringgit to the national GDP and reduce 21.35 million tonnes of carbon emissions by 2040. The meeting also highlighted the MyGov Malaysia platform under the Gov Tech initiative, which will serve as a single digital gateway for all government services. The Prime Minister stressed the importance of expanding the My Digital ID system to the private sector in efforts to strengthen the country's digital ecosystem. Meanwhile, Anwar has secured a 55% approval rating as his administration reaches the halfway point of its term. According to a Merdeka Centre mid-term poll, more Malaysians are optimistic about the country's direction, citing political stability, institutional reforms and economic recovery as key contributing factors. The research house found that Anwar, who leads a government with a 2/3 parliamentary majority, has benefited from easing political turbulence and institutional reforms, including the revival of the Parliamentary Services Act 2025, which is seen as a return to principled governance. On the economic front, government data showed that inflation dropped to 1.4% in March, the lowest in 3 years, while the country recorded 4.4% growth in the first quarter of 2025. Recent measures such as a minimum wage hike to 1,700 ringgit, festive cash aid for civil servants and continued fuel subsidies were viewed as helping ease public concerns over the rising cost of living. Malaysia's global standing has also improved with Anwar's diplomatic efforts enhancing his image at home, including hosting Chinese President Xi Jinping and chairing ASEAN in 2025. The report said his leadership on Global South initiatives and the signing of new investment and trade deals were also cited as positive developments. The Home Ministry will summon the management of a local newspaper soon over an erroneous infographic involving the Inspector General of Police. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the matter will be reviewed from all angles, especially in legal terms.
Fakta yang dikongsi itu terlalu obvious sangat ketika profil biodata itu menyebut tentang kesemua pengalaman Datuk Seri Khalid di hujung itu dengan disengajakan dimasukkan. Walhal pada ketika itu pihak polis telah pun mengeluarkan profil yang sahih.
He was met by reporters after attending the Home Ministry's monthly assembly in Putrajaya. The minister added that claiming the mistake was unintentional is not a sufficient excuse, especially since it has contributed to public mistrust and hatred. The Daily has since issued a public apology explaining that the mistake occurred when a social media staff member reused an outdated design template. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail, has firmly denied ever being involved with any political party throughout his 38 years of service with the police force.
As you know, Datuk Fauziah, PKR, telah memberikan sidang akhbar baru ini menjelaskan segala-galanya. Selama 38 tahun saya di dalam pasukan PDRM, saya tidak pernah terlibat dalam mana-mana parti politik.
He also revealed that the media outlet responsible for the erroneous report had requested a meeting to personally explain the error. The meeting is expected to take place in the coming days. The Royal Malaysian Air Force CN-235 transport aircraft that skidded while landing at Kuching International Airport early Monday experienced a nose landing gear issue. RMAF's Public Relations Division in a statement on Monday confirmed the 11:15 a.m. incident, which has gone viral on social media. The RMAF said the aircraft from the Kuching Air Base encountered a nose landing gear problem while landing after completing a logistics flight from Labuan and Kota Kinabalu. All crew members and passengers are safe and escaped unhurt. The RMAF said it will set up a board of inquiry to determine the cause of the incident. Earlier, Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad said the runway at Kuching International Airport would be temporarily closed until 3 p.m. to facilitate the removal of the aircraft and for runway cleaning operations. The airport authorities will provide updates once the runway is declared safe for flight operations by the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia. The Cabinet has approved the proposal to turn the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, or CAAM, into a statutory body with separate remuneration and exemption effective August 1st. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the move is expected to save the government between 1.5 and 2 billion ringgit over the next decade. Speaking to the media on Monday, the Transport Minister said the matter was agreed by the Cabinet on June 11.
Langkah ini selari dengan amalan terbaik antarabangsa, di mana negara lain kini mengamalkan model kawal selia tunggal dalam sektor penerbangan bagi memastikan penyelarasan yang lebih efektif. Rasionalisasi ini juga meletakkan asas kukuh kepada CAM untuk memacu pertumbuhan industri penerbangan Malaysia.
Lok explained that CAAM will take over Mavcom's economic regulatory functions and become a statutory body in terms of finances and its remuneration. He also assured that the merger will not have any direct financial impact on passengers and that aviation service charges have been revised and applied to airlines since January. A newly formed Joint Ministerial Committee on Private Healthcare Costs will hold its first meeting on Tuesday. It will be co-chaired by Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad and Second Finance Minister Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan. The meeting is expected to establish the committee's terms of reference and identify key stakeholders involved in addressing the rising cost of healthcare services. It comes amid public concern over recent proposals by insurance companies to raise medical premiums by up to 70%. The discussion will also shape the Reset Health Initiative roadmap, a long-term reform plan to transform Malaysia's healthcare system. The committee was announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim last week with the aim of ensuring that quality private healthcare services remain accessible and affordable for all Malaysians. Oil prices jumped on Monday to their highest since January as the United States' weekend move to join Israel in attacking Iran's nuclear facilities stoked supply worries. Brent crude futures was up $1.92 or 2.49% at $78.93 a barrel. Meanwhile, US West Texas Intermediate crude advanced $1.89 or 2.56% to $75.73. Both contracts jumped by more than 3% early in the session to $81.40 and $78.40 respectively, touching 5-month highs before giving up some gains. The rise in prices comes after US President Donald Trump said he had obliterated Iran's main nuclear sites in strikes over the weekend, joining an Israeli assault in an escalation of conflict in the Middle East. We're taking a short break. When we return, Sabah mining scandal. MACC nabs another state assemblyman.
Karnival Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nanas Malaysia akan ke Johor Bahru untuk warga selatan di Padang B Angsana Johor Bahru Mall 27 hingga 29 Jun ini. Dan jangan lupa meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia di booth Lembaga Perindustrian Nanas Malaysia. Ada banyak aktiviti, hadiah, selawat perdana, penampilan selebriti dan jualan lebih 50 produk berasaskan nanas oleh usahawan tempatan. Jom meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia. Nanas kita, kebanggaan negara.
Penjenayah pedofilia diburu.
Pelaku jenayah itu pula adalah bersifat manipulatif dan mereka akan grow dari masa ke semasa.
Penyulitan maklumat antara cabaran dihadapi.
Kita perlu analisis dulu maklumat tersebut. Sama ada mangsa yang perlu diselamatkan ataupun tidak. Kita memang ada perasaan marah, sedih. Kita kena kekalkan profesionalism ini yang diterapkan dalam PDRM sendiri.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Persahabatan semuanya ada di Ejen Ali.
Kita pengen punya lagu cinta yang BPM-nya kencang supaya cinta-cintaannya tuh ugal-ugalan.
Saksikan kuasa muzik dan animasi meraihkan seni tanpa sempadan bersama kami Niji dalam Melody Showcase Niji X Agent Ali The Movie 2 Music Tour.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested another Sabah assemblyman in connection with alleged corruption involving the issuance of mineral mining licenses in the state. Speaking to TV3, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki confirmed that the suspect, who also served as an assistant state minister, was detained for allegedly soliciting and receiving a bribe amounting to 150,000 ringgit. The man, in his 40s, was arrested at around 9:30 a.m. on Monday when he appeared to give his statement to investigators.
SPM Sabah telah menjalankan tangkapan terhadap seorang ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri di sebuah adun di Sabah, dan beliau ditangkap sama juga dengan seperti mana tangkapan seorang adun sebelum ini. Ini adalah adun yang kedua yang ditangkap dan akan dituduh bersama juga dengan seorang ahli perniagaan yang sama.
The suspect was later released on 50,000 ringgit bail with one surety after his statement was recorded. He is expected to be charged in court soon. Azam had previously confirmed that 2 assemblymen and a businessman are set to be charged this month in connection with the mining scandal. The probe, dubbed Op Adun, was launched by the MACC following the release of a video linked to the matter published by a news portal in November last year. 2 youths aged 19 and 20 were remanded for 3 days after allegedly punching and biting a policeman at the Pulau Pinang Police Headquarters in Georgetown. It is understood that the 2 men were behaving suspiciously near the entrance of the police headquarters at about 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. The officer on duty at the IPK guard post detained the men due to their suspicious behavior and brought them in for further investigation. However, while at the guard post, the 2 suddenly attacked the policeman, punching him in the cheek and biting his chest. The duo, believed to be inebriated, also hurled curses at the policeman before being arrested. The officer suffered a swollen left eye and bruises on his chest. Both men, who are locals, have been remanded until June 25th to assist with investigations. In Malacca, a 9-year-old girl died after allegedly being abused by her stepfather at their home in Taman Kota Laksamana. Police said the incident came to light at about 9:45 a.m. on Monday when they received a call from a private hospital after the victim was brought in unconscious by her stepfather for treatment. Malacca Tengah District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Christopher Patit said doctors found that the girl had suffered a broken leg as well as bruises on her head and body. The victim died at the private hospital's emergency ward a few minutes later. A report was lodged at Bandar Hilir Police Station on the same day. Meanwhile, the victim's mother, an Indonesian national, identified the body at the Malacca hospital at 4 p.m. on Monday. It is understood that the woman's husband is being held to assist in the investigation. Police have arrested 2 men in connection with the Parang attack that left a man seriously injured in Bandar Baru Nilai on Sunday. The 2:30 a.m. incident is believed to have stemmed from a misunderstanding, with all involved reportedly under the influence of alcohol. Nilai District Police Chief Superintendent Abdul Malik Hasim said police received a report on the incident by a medical officer from Sultan Idris Shah Hospital in Sedang, who had treated a local male patient in his 30s whose face and body had been covered in blood. Preliminary investigations have ruled out gang-related activity. The incident is believed to have been triggered by a spontaneous argument under the influence of alcohol, which escalated due to provocation and physical confrontation. Gundawan leads City to knockout stage. The details after this breather.
Ayuh kita gegarkan Johor Bahru dengan konsert Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nanas Malaysia. Saksikan persembahan hebat selebriti tanah air seperti Jacqueline Victor, Nabila Razali, Amir Ukais, Wan Mikeri, Azlan Typewriter, Drama Band, Tuju dan Lokabi dan ramai lagi. Dihoskan oleh Ayu Hot FM dan Hanif Miswan yang akan menggamatkan malam konsert kita. Meriahkan konsert Jom Heboh 28 dan 29 Jun ini di Padang B, Angsana Johor Bahru Mall mulai 9 malam. Jom, jom, jom!
Pelakon Benji atau nama sebenarnya Khairil Benjamin Ibrahim 32 mengaku tidak bersalah.
Saya terkejut lah sebab kita tak sangka jadi dekat dia macam tu. Kenapa dia boleh terlibat macam tu?
Penahanan semula pelakon Khairil Benjamin Ibrahim atau Benji bagi siasatan lanjut berkaitan dadah sintetik.
Masa kita orang pergi ke penjara tu memang berliku-liku lah kan.
Tapi saya marah sebab dia abang saya.
Keadilan. Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan keadilan? Apa kau percaya dalam dunia ni ada keadilan? Nyawa harus dibayar dengan nyawa. Darah harus dibayar dengan darah. Welcome to the gang, Andra.
Nampaknya kau memang ditakdirkan untuk jadi salah seorang daripada kita orang. Mafia.
Hapuskan anak-anak mafia tu, Hariwijaya akan turut hancur. Begitu juga dengan Serigala Merah.
Kalau dia pecah lubang kita, dia buka lubang dulu.
Kau nak diduri dalam daging apa?
Kalau bukan sebab geng, kau dah lama mampus macam mancing kurap.
Onto the foreign front. Israel targeted Evin prison in Tehran on Monday, one of the most potent symbols of Iran's governing system in what Israel called the most intense bombing yet of the Iranian capital. The strike comes a day after the United States attacked 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran's Mizan news agency, however, reported that the situation on the ground was under control following the attack. CCTV footage showed an explosion at one of the prison gates, while state TV pictures showed first responders carrying a casualty and searching for survivors under a flattened building. Israel's defense minister said it was targeting regime targets and agencies of government repression across Tehran, including Evin. The military also said it had struck access routes to the Fordoed uranium enrichment plant south of Tehran. Earlier, Iran and Israel traded another wave of air and missile strikes. Iran's army announced that it had fired dozens of one-way drones with anti-fortification explosive warheads at Israel, claiming that the majority of the projectiles fired successfully reached their targets. The Zionist military, meanwhile, claimed that it had hit at least 6 airports in western, eastern and central Iran, including the Mehrabad airport in Tehran. So far, around 500 Iranians have been killed since Israel's June 13 attack on the country. Meanwhile, Iranians gathered in Tehran on Monday to protest against attacks by the Zionist regime and the US, expressing their resolve to defend their country.
نظر من مذاکره با این جور آدمای مودی اصلا امکان پذیر نیستش. ما هیچگونه مذاکره با اینا نداریم. به نظر من همون حملات رو ادامه بدن کافیه.
در من حالا حمله‌ای که امریکا به ایران داشت یه حمله کاملا بزدلانه بود، چون کاملا میدونن که ایران رو همه چی مسلط، قدرت توان خودش رو داره و اینکه اومد نشون بده که اولا اسرائیل هیچ غلطی نمیتونه بکنه. اسرائیل در قبال جنگایی که ایران کرده بود واقعا کم آورده بود، دیگه همه ما اینو میدونیم و خیلی بزدلانه از روی ترس کمکی رو از امریکا خواست که مرتب آقای نتانیاهو اعلام میکرد که آقای ترامپ کمک بکنه، به خاطر که واقعا کم آورده بود.
Meanwhile, Tehran is considering the possibility of launching strikes against the U.S. military bases in West Asia. Deputy Foreign Minister Saeed Khatibzadeh said his country is within its right to respond to the attacks against its nuclear facilities as it sees fit. He also stressed that the U.S. strike on its nuclear facilities has broadened the scope of legitimate targets for Iranian forces. Saeed warned that while U.S. President Donald Trump might have initiated the conflict, it will be Iran that determines how it ends. Since Trump joined Israel's campaign by dropping massive bunker buster bombs on Iranian nuclear sites on Sunday, Iran has repeatedly threatened to retaliate. However, while it has continued to fire missiles at Israel, it has yet to take action against the U.S. itself. Now, Iran's parliamentary speaker said on Monday that Iran is seeking to suspend cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA. Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf told Parliament that lawmakers are working to pass a bill that would suspend Iran's cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog until they receive concrete guarantees of professional conduct from the agency.
ما در مجلس شورای اسلامی به دنبال تصویب طرحی هستیم که همکاری‌های ایران با آژانس را تا زمانی که تضمین‌های عینی از رفتار حرفه‌ای این سازمان بین‌المللی نداشته باشیم متوقف کند. الله اکبر.
The IAEA previously reported that Iran had stockpiled enough uranium enriched up to 60%, which, if further enriched, could be used to produce material for 9 nuclear weapons. In Syria, a suicide bomber carried out an attack inside a packed church in Damascus on Sunday, killing at least 22 people and wounding at least 63 people. According to state media, the explosion in Duela on the outskirts of Damascus took place as people were praying during a mass inside the Mar Ilyas church. So far, no group has immediately claimed responsibility. The Syrian Interior Ministry reported, however, that a fighter from the IS group had entered the church, opened fire on the people inside, and then detonated an explosive vest, an account that aligns with some witness testimonies. In other news, Thailand's cabinet reshuffle is nearing completion, with Defence Minister Putam Wichachai tipped to become Interior Minister and Jen Sunai Prabuchain, a former Assistant Army Chief, to succeed him as Defence Minister. The cabinet reshuffle appears to be taking final shape, with reports indicating that replacements for the 8 ministers from the Bumjathai party who recently resigned are expected to be finalised on Tuesday. Earlier, its Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra began a cabinet reshuffle on Monday as a political and judicial crisis sparked by a leaked phone call threatens to sink her government.
เตรียมพร้อมทุกรูปแบบสำหรับการสถานการณ์ทุกสถานการณ์ซึ่งกองทัพเองเนี่ยทราบ
Switching to sports now, football, the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup in the United States. Ilkay Gundogan scored 2 goals as Manchester City comfortably dispatched Emirati club Al Ain 6-0 to ease into the knockout stage from Group G along with Juventus. City took the lead after just 8 minutes when Gundogan's chipped cross accidentally flew over Al Ain's goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Claudio Echeverri doubled the advantage after curling in a sublime free kick from the edge of the box in the 27th minute before Erling Haaland made it 3-0 by converting a penalty just before half-time. Gundogan struck again in the 73rd minute with a well-taken dinked finish, and Oscar Bob displayed quick footwork before calmly rolling in the 5th at the near post 11 minutes later. Ryan Cherki sealed the emphatic 6-0 win in the final 10 minutes, bringing City level on goal difference with Juventus, who had earlier defeated Wydad Casablanca. City and Juventus will face off in the final group match in Orlando on Thursday, with the winner securing a place in the round of 16 as group leaders. On to tennis, the 2025 Queen's Club Championships in the United Kingdom. Carlos Alcaraz held off a battling Jiří Lehecka on Sunday afternoon to seal his second title with victory in an absorbing final. The world number 2 won 7-5, 6-7, 6-2 to take his 21st career title, but was pushed hard by the in-form Lehecka, who was one of only 5 players who have beaten Alcaraz this year. The Spaniard blasted 33 winners and 18 aces to subdue the gritty Czech world number 30 in 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was an 18-match win in a row for Alcaraz and a 5th title in 2025 to ensure he starts his bid for a 3rd successive Wimbledon crown as a player in form. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as tourists and locals gather for the Shando Polo Festival in Pakistan, an annual event where local teams compete in freestyle polo, the oldest and most traditional form of the sport played without rules and found only in this region. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching and take care.